والله يدعو إلى دار السلام ويهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم.
He was speaking about the expatriate community of Muslim brothers and sisters who are working in some of the Arab countries. He says many of them are treated very poorly, badly, bad working conditions and so forth. He said, how do they come out of this? What advice do you have for them, Shaykh?
And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam advised us to treat our servants as exactly our brothers by saying, إخوانكم خوالكم. And there is an amazing linguistic benefit in putting first the predicate before the subject in this statement. Normally the subject comes first, then the predicate. In this statement the Prophet ﷺ switched and he put the predicate before the subject to indicate that the predicate is the same as the subject. Meaning, when he said إخوانكم خوالكم means your brothers are your servants. This is the right order as it is in the hadith. But the meaning that your servants are but your brothers. This is with regards to the maids, to the slaves, to the servants. فَمَنْ كَانَ أَخُوهُ تَحْتَ يَدِهِ فَلْيُطْعِمْهُ مِمَّا يَطْعَمْ. So whosoever have a servant or a slave under him, under his service, serving him, let him feed him from whatever he eats. Give him clothes from whatever he wears. And if any of you orders his servant or his labor or his employee to do anything, then you should only order him to do something that is in his capacity, that he can afford to do. And do not wrong them, nor oppress them. And if you ever order them to do anything that is beyond their capacity, then you should assist them. You should help them out. This is the teaching of Islam with regards to how to treat the slaves during slavery. What about Muslim brothers and sisters who are free, who are professionals, who came to work from far away because of the need? This money which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed some people, some communities with, is the money for all the Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who bestowed it upon you, and He can withdraw it. In one hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ibadi, my servants, إني حرمت الظلم على نفسي وجعلته بينكم محرما فلا تظالموا. I have prohibited ظلم, injustice and wrongdoing upon myself, or for myself, and I've made it prohibited for you. So do not oppress one another. Do not wrong one another. It is a severe warning against wronging any person, let alone your Muslim brothers or sisters. Some of the pictures of dhulm, whenever in some countries there is a sponsor, that for any employee to come from another country, a Muslim worker, he could be a physician, he could be a professor, he has to have a sponsor. In some cases, the sponsor requires this person, especially from the low-class laborers, that you have to pay me money. You can just go and work on your own and pay me money by the end of the month. They end up working double the work and 2 shifts, day and night, non-stop. Just number one, to pay to the sponsor. This earning for the sponsor is totally prohibited. And I will not say this is equal to stealing, this is even worse. This earning is totally prohibited. And this is suht. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا يحل مال امرئ مسلم إلا بطيب نفس منه. The wealth and the money and the belonging of a Muslim, if anybody takes it away from him without his consent, then it is not lawful. It is haram. Even if you happen to take it before him while he's watching, or he has to give it to you by himself, in this case like the workers have to pay to the sponsor and so on, this is totally haram. So the good and kind treatment is commanded both in the Quran and in the Sunnah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us not just to treat Muslims and Muslim brothers and sisters kindly and gently, but all kind of people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says في سورة الحجرات يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ خَبِيرٌ. O mankind, the meaning of this verse of Surah Al-Hujurat, O mankind, indeed, we've created you from ذَكَرْ وَأُنْثَى, from a single male and female. Then we made you into nations and tribes in order to get to know one another. لِتَعَارَفُوا. Verily, the most noble one of you, أَكْرَمَكُمْ, the most honorable one, is the one who's God-fearing the most, is the one who's pious and righteous the most. إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. And that's something to be determined only by Allah, because He is the all-knowing and well-acquainted. So one has to keep in mind that by Allah, in whose hand is my soul, there is no superiority for an Arab over a non-Arab, nor for a non-Arab over an Arab, or for a white over a black, nor vice versa, except through righteousness and good deeds. So the business people whom Allah blessed with wealth, and they are employers or business owners, and they have people working for them, they should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They should be generous to them. They should treat them with kindness. Because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that you should really love for Muslims exactly what you love for yourself. This is one of the signs of faith. So consider yourself in his position, in his shoes. That you're being employed by an employer who's an oppressor, who's taken from your salary. Some people, they have people work for them, and by the end of their session, by the end, they just dismiss them or deport them without paying them their wages. Such deed is one of the worst kinds of dhulm, injustice and oppression. And such person will appear on the Day of Judgment and will be declared as bankrupt. The Prophet ﷺ said, do you know who is the bankrupt? أَتَدْرُونَ مَنِ الْمُفْلِسِ? They said, O Messenger of Allah, the bankrupt is the one who does not have a dirham nor a dinar, does not have a dollar nor a euro. He's broke. The one who files for bankruptcy. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said no. The real bankrupt person, al-muflis, is the one who comes on the Day of Judgment with mountains of good deeds. A great deal of hasanat, of prayers, of fasting, yet he comes while he has wronged so-and-so, insulted so-and-so, oppressed so-and-so, devoured the wealth of so-and-so without right. So they will all be presented on the Day of Judgment, and each one of them is asking for his right. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will start giving each one of them from his good deeds, which appeared in the beginning as mountains, until they vanish. So he does not have any good deeds anymore. And then what happens? 20 Hajj, 30 Umrah, fasting Mondays and Thursdays, all his good deeds vanished, because he was a zalim. He was an oppressor. He used to curse people. He used to oppress his employees. He used to oppress his workers. He used to take the wealth of people and their rights without right. He used to deprive the workers from their wages. So what happens? After his deeds, good deeds have vanished, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to the angels, take from their bad deeds and cast it upon him. So now he does not have any balance of good deeds. Not only that, but he has accumulated mountains of sayyat or sins from those whom he have oppressed or wronged in this life, until they are satisfied. Then he will be thrown in fire. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, beware of dhulm, beware of oppression, because إِنَّ الظُّلْمَ ظُلُمَاتٌ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. There will be a case of, or a situation of darkness on the Day of Judgment. And we all know that this life is very short and brief. Today you are on the surface, tomorrow or maybe tonight you will be under the ground. So we should all fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we treat all kind of people as humans, and pay close attention to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتُ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. The believing men and women are supporters to one another. This should be the condition of the Muslims. the Prophet ﷺ also said that مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد الواحد. The example of the true believers is like one single body. إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالحمى والسهر. If any part or any organ of this body aches or suffers of any pain or complains, the entire body is aching as well. The person cannot sleep if there is a little abscess here or stomachache or toothache, whatever. Why? Even though it's just one organ, it's one tooth or an abscess here or there, but the entire body is aching, is sharing the pain with this organ. That should be the situation of the Muslim Ummah. I mean, the true Muslim Ummah. May Allah guide us to what's best.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.